Okay. It's time for another stream. Scoop. Game for today is one I already know is good. A Mortician's Tale, not to be confused with Mortician's Assistant. Is that what it's called? The horror game where you, half, do like realistic mortuary work and half, battle with funny demons. In this game, it's half, like, truncated, sanitized mortuary work, and half fighting with capitalism. We'll see about that. And that's the real scary part. But let's get started. September 14th, 10:15 a.m. From Matthew Jeffrey to Charlie. Welcome, Charlie. Nice to meet you. My name's Matthew, and I'm mainly going to be the man who delivers the bodies to you and helps you with some of the more heavy lifting. Ever hear the joke about the hearse driver? I'll tell it to you when I come by in a bit. Looking forward to working together. I think you'll enjoy working here. Amy is a sweetheart, but she runs a tight ship. Nothing you can't handle, I'm sure. She wouldn't have hired you otherwise. Cheers and good luck. Matthew J., Funeral Director, Rose and Daughter's Funeral Home. Hello and welcome to our new funeral director.
Hello everyone. I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce our new funeral director, Charlotte, or Charlie as she told me she likes to be referred to. Charlie is a recent graduate, came highly recommended, and is eager to begin her career here with us at Rose and Daughter's Funeral Home. Please take the time to make Charlie feel at home with our little family. We'll have a nice catered lunch this afternoon so we can all get to know each other a little better as well. Sincerely, Amy Rose.
I know Amy Rose. That's a hedgehog. Actually, is Amy a hedgehog? I think she's like a cat. What is... Amy's a hedgehog, right? Why does she look so different?
Hello, Charlie. Well, you're new here, so it's probably best I explain where everything is in your office/preparations room. You'll find your cremation station, cremulator station, embalming station, and obviously, since you're reading this email, your desk and computer area. I know you have experience working with these stations, but please let me know if you have any questions. Best, Amy Rose.
From Jen Love. Yeah, I guess my subject lines to you should start getting more professional now that we are business professionals. I can't wait to get your reply so I can see your fancy new email signature. I love that you were able to land this gig straight after graduating. It sounds super cool. I didn't even know mom and pop funeral homes were a thing until now. Guess it's just not something I really think that much about. I should look more into this, learn more about your world and industry, because as I said, you are now a very serious professional. Speaking of being a professional, my museum gig is amazing. I can't believe someone paid me to move to London, and not London, O-N, serial killer capital of Canada, Ontario, there we go, to work in a museum. Like, take that, everyone who said I couldn't get a job with an art history degree. I'll tell you more about it when we Skype. Oh, when does this take place? When we Skype? Oh, open up the AOL Instant Messenger, Sonny, I need to talk to you. My stories require you to see my face and that you hear my excellent British accent impersonation. Also, I signed you up for Funerals Monthly Newsletter. Consider it your graduation gift. I love you. I'm super proud of you gift. I love you, Jen.
Today's tasks. Hello, Charlie. Hope you settled in okay so far. Matthew should have dropped off your first body for you to work on. He said you were really friendly and he's glad to have someone young and lively to work with. You'll get used to a sense of humor. Your first body is Mrs. Garcia, an elderly woman who died suddenly of a heart attack. The family has asked for a closed casket funeral, so no embalming or body preparation is necessary. The family seems a little bit more united than previous families we've dealt with. Strange how grief affects people differently. Perhaps having more time to say goodbye makes things a bit easier, if that's possible. That being said, although you will not be embalming Mrs. Garcia, I do think it's important to take the time to clean her body. No one's going to see her body, but I like to encourage my funeral directors to do this out of respect for the deceased and their loved ones. You'll find Mrs. Garcia in the prep room. Talk soon. Dear Mia, of course we will happily oblige your request for no embalming and for a closed casket. I'll ensure our funeral director receives your request. Take care. Dear Amy, we're happy to be with Rose and Daughters for my mother's funeral. We understand that you
that there are usually procedures that must be followed in these situations, but if you could kindly not embalm my mother, that would be greatly appreciated, and we will proceed with a closed casket for the service. I just know she wouldn't have wanted her death to have any negative impact on the environment, since she fought so hard to beat her heart disease and live healthily. It would be a shame to have her final moments to be a counter to the way she lived. Thank you for anything you can do to help us in this matter. Best, Mia. I will get right to it. I guess I'm not reading that last one. This is the prep room where you will prepare bodies for burials and viewings. Because the family has requested a closed casket ceremony with no embalming, you're just going to clean the body. Sponge. Oh, you're so dirty, Mrs. Garcia. That's it. You're done. Mrs. Garcia will be sent to Mike, who will take care of dressing and putting her in the casket. It's time to go to Mrs. Garcia's funeral. You are responsible for taking care of the deceased's body, but it is also important you pay your respects to the loved ones. Follow the arrow to head to the funeral parlor. She would have hated these paintings. She was so particular. Yeah, at least she doesn't have to see them, I guess? That's, yeah, I guess. We usually don't small talk a lot of these things. At least that's what I was always taught. I hate wearing pantyhose. My legs are so itchy, but it's always so cold in these funeral homes. I think I might actually miss those sweaters she used to knit for me now. Mommy, I'm hungry. When can we go? Most realistic part of this game. That's me. That's me when I was 10. That's me when I was 15. That's me now. Yeah, I heard the family specifically said no embalming. I thought it was mandatory, like required by law, but I guess not. Embalming weirds me out. Do those chemicals leach into the ground? It seems strange to be using a chemical that is known to cause cancer and putting it into the ground like that. Or into the sewer. That's what they must do with the leftover formaldehyde, right? Just pour it down the drain? At least embalming guarantees you won't be buried alive. Stop it. Don't make me laugh right now. Alright, everybody. See you later. You bunch of stiffs. Okay, so let me explain this in a bit more detail. A colleague and I were discussing the tight lacer's liver specimen we have here at the museum. It's from a woman who died in 1907, and the liver is tapered inwards from what the doctor leading the autopsy believed was too tight lacing under corset. It's fascinating because it's kind of a controversial topic. Tight lacing was super popular, and while people associated it with fainting or hysteria, it's actually been associated with visceraptosis, which is when the organs fall to the lower part of the body, or the abdomen, right? Which is super unsettling, but can also be caused by being pregnant. So, Tilder, corsets probably messed up some bones, but likely didn't do this kind of internal organ damage. And I'm tired of the condensation about my wardrobe that also implies I don't know what I'm doing. These are the kinds of things I specifically research, and yet I'm treated like I know nothing about. I'm having a day, Charlie. Can I rant for a second? I'm so tired of hearing strangers, colleagues, anybody, cough, male colleagues, cough, get on my case for wearing corsets. I wear them under my blazer and over a nice blouse, so it's not like I'm dressing inappropriately, even though dress codes are such sexist BS anyway. Like, I hate how their misogyny gets veiled in focus on, Jen, I'm just worried you're damaging your body. You do know what corsets do to livers, right? Corsets don't do anything to livers. They're definitely not hurting me as much as your condensation is hurting my head. Oh, sorry, I'm out of sorts right now. I'll send you another email in a little bit when I've cooled off a bit. I'll be right with you. Rose and daughters. Oh, pay attention to these prices. They will change. So, $6,000 for open casket, $42 for closed, Cremation, ceremony, reception, $1,700. Direct burial with no ceremony, blah, 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 1900. Direct cremation with no ceremony, $600 all inclusive. So, $600 to $6,000, bear that in mind. Just passing the message along. Thanks for the hard work, Charlie. Hi, Amy. Please pass along our deepest thanks to you and your staff for the wonderful job they did with our mother's funeral. It was really lovely. Our family so rarely gets together. It was nice seeing everyone come out for such a beautiful service. My son never gets to see his family. Also, it was incredibly kind of you to let us bring our own food in. Getting to share home-cooked meals, sharing stories, being there together, it meant a lot. So what I'm saying is it was nice for everyone to be there like that, together in that way. And I know how much of that was due to your work of your staff, especially your funeral director. Male condensation is the worst. Look, there's some words that are real words. Thank you for making this difficult time easier for all of us. There are other words that I just don't like writing, like tomorrow and opponent. Because I have to think about it every time. Hey there, Charlie. I was driving around the other day, taking our clients on their last trip around town. I was thinking, strange I know, did I ever tell you the first time I went to a funeral? I was a teenager, about to start university, and a friend of mine was killed in a car accident, totally out of the blue. Really tragic stuff, messed me and my friends up real good. But so, the big day, we all got into our best suits and dresses and packed ourselves into a few cars. There were a lot of us, so we had at least 3 different cars full of us, like clown cars, While we're in the procession going to the cemetery, someone in our car got a phone call from a friend in a different car. Turns out some asshat driver who doesn't know how to not get in the way of a procession drove through the intersection and smashed straight into our friend's car. Nobody was hurt, thank God, but can you imagine getting that call? Anyway, one of my friends in the same car as me, the one who got the phone call, hung up and started laughing. Just laughing her ass off in the way that makes you not sure if they're really just crying or they've gone fully off the deep end. And she laughed, and we all started giggling because, go figure, life is messed up sometimes, There's no moral, no point to that story, I guess. I just remember that story and wanted to tell you, because we work with death all the time, and I still sometimes get caught off guard by what that actually means. Oh, before you get any ideas, that has nothing to do with why I became a funeral director. That decision came totally later and is nothing unremarkable. Somebody has to do it, and I have a strong stomach, so why not? So I'll see you in a bit, Charlie. Funerals Monthly to subscriber. We all know everyone wants to be respectful at funerals. Don't talk too loudly, be kind, smile, and refrain from making inappropriate jokes, at least around the grieving families. Sometimes some people do need a little bit of a pick-me-up during such hard times. Who are we to judge? And a big part of that is knowing what to wear. Roman Catholic funerals tend to lean more to the formal, black attire rule, and it works for us. Did you know this goes back to the days of the Roman Empire where people would wear black as a symbol for mourning? Black isn't universally the symbol for mourning, though, and if you're attending a funeral that is from a culture that is not your own, it's important to understand this. Some colors have different meanings, and despite your best intention, the wrong choice can mean accidental offense. For example, in Hinduism and Chinese cultures, white is a typical color for funerals. In Islam, though, it's less about the color you are wearing and more about how modestly you are dressed. Refrain from wearing any elaborate jewelry and be respectful of your behavior. For Sikh funerals, color of the clothing isn't as important as is dressing modestly and being able to appropriately sit cross-legged. Actually, just being respectful is the #1 rule for any funeral, no matter what, really. Remember that, and please don't hesitate to ask what is and isn't appropriate to wear. If you're attending to support a friend, family member, or partner, this day is not about you, so be sure to do whatever you can to be as respectful and supportive as possible, even if that means not wearing what you're used to wearing at a funeral, or even if it just means asking how you can appropriately show your respects. Hi, Charlie. Here are the instructions for your next body. You did a remarkable job on the first one. The family was very happy with you. No small feat, of course. Pleasing a grieving family isn't exactly the most comfortable of jobs. Your next job is a man named Mr. Duval, an elderly man, died of old age. Nothing fancy, just a standard funeral with embalming. You can reach out to his daughter, Lizzie Duval, if you have any questions. She's handling her father's passing as well as can be expected. As always, don't hesitate to ask me any questions. Best, Amy Rose. P.S. Charlie, dear, please remember to wear proper embalming gear. Formaldehyde is extremely dangerous. I know I don't need to tell you, but my maternal instincts are hard to ignore. I promise I won't mother you too much. No, just a little. Ask Matthew, he knows. I'll get right on it. So there's a little gameplay to this game. Not a ton, but you'll see there's some stuff. traditional burials typically require embalming, which preserves the body and prevents it from decomposing as quickly. Unless the family requests otherwise, all traditional burials will use embalming. Let's start by cleaning the body. A spongy, 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 spongy. A spongy, spongy. So dirty. Click the razor and shave. All neat and tidy. In order to break the rigor mortis, you'll have to massage the body. Click and drag over the body to massage it. A touch, a touch, a touch, a touch, a touch. The eyeballs deflate once the body starts decomposing. Click and drag an eye cap into each socket to give it shape. Wah, wah. To keep the eyes shut, you'll need to glue them. Click and drag the glue onto each eye to shut it. Wah, wah. The mouth sags and hollows once the body starts decomposing. Click and drag a cotton ball into the mouth to give it shape. Keep the mouth shut, you'll need to keep the mouth from opening, you'll need to suture it shut. Click and drag the needle and thread over the jaw to close it. Click and drag the lotion over the body to moisturize it. This prevents the skin from drying out. It gets the moisturizer. Embalming involves removing blood and replacing it with preserving chemicals. Click and drag the scalpel over the neck to make an incision. You're going to need a tube for draining blood. Click on the tube and drag it into the neck incision. Click on the cannula and drag it into the carotid artery. This is how you'll get preserving chemicals into the bloodstream. Now you'll need to connect the embalming machine to the cannula. Grab some additional tubing and drag it into the cannula. Okay. Click on the button on the embalming machine to turn it on. In order to evenly distribute, you'll have to massage them. We need an even distribution, Decoy. An even distribution of the fluids. Or it'll be no good. No good to us. Great, now let's sew up that incision. Click and drag the needle and thread over the incision to close it. Almost done. You'll need to drain the organs of any remaining fluids. Click on the trocar and click and hold on the abdomen until all the liquid has been drained. Nummy, 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 nummy. And you're done. Mike will take care of Mr. Duvall's makeup as well as dressing and putting him in his casket. It's time to attend the funeral. Come out in the protective gear. Don't touch me, I'm sterile. He always wanted to take his grandkids to the park, play catch. He loved playing catch. He could throw a mean curveball, that's for sure. Humming to himself. He's gaming. This kid is also me. I'm here. I'm dressed. I'm respectful. I'm gaming. So strange not seeing most people wearing white. White? Yeah, I think it's different for different family members. I can't remember. I haven't gone to many traditional funerals, so mostly white, but like, definitely not red, no matter what. Came out of nowhere. I mean, it always sort of does, doesn't it? Yeah, 1 minute you're laughing, having fun, and the next, poof, that person's gone. Just like, gone. Yeah, it's weird to think about it for too long. Like, staring into the sun, I start to feel all fuzzy when I think about it. Yeah, so weird how our bodies just stop working like that. Yeah. Vivi, our people just stop moving after a while, and it's not that long. When our time comes, we move them to the graveyard, where they can be still, silently, forever. Something like that from FF9, of the Black Waltz constructs talking about death, which they don't really understand because they're kind of only sort of alive. Hello, Charlie. Today's funeral is for a woman who died of breast cancer. Nothing fancy, just a standard cremation. Please don't hesitate to ask if you have any questions. Hi, Amy. Thank you for your wonderful evening you and your staff put together for my father's funeral. He wasn't always an easy man to get along with, but I'm glad to have seen him off in such a kind way. Thank you, Lizzie. Passing on this lovely thank you now. Charlie, I was doing some reading. I know you hate it when I try to give you dating advice, but hear me out. There's this dating site that's specifically for people working in the death industry. Okay, so maybe I'm a little worried about you. You haven't mentioned anybody new since the breakup of 2014, and we will never speak of that again after this moment. But you're always saying how tired you get of people being scared to ask about your day, so maybe meeting someone in the industry isn't the worst idea. Just promise me you'll consider it, okay? It's harder for me to make sure you're seeing sunlight when I'm all the way across the ocean. I know you look like a babe with pale skin, and witchy gothy aesthetics are super hot right now, but vitamin D is a good thing. Mom rant over. I'm going to try it out, because it turns out people get super scared off when you tell them you work in a museum filled with dead bodies. Do you know how not interesting other people find teratomas? Teratomas are gross, to be fair. Charlie, I didn't know I know teratomas because of the Binding of Isaac. Charlie, I didn't know we were this weird to outside people. I've been spoiled by having a best friend who is as much a weirdo as I am. Miss you. Let's grab a bottle of wine for our next Skype date. P.S. If you sign up for Dead Meat, isn't that the best name for a death industry dating website? Tinder rules apply. You have to like me if you come across my profile or whatever. I'm not sure how it works yet, though. I don't like the look of this. Not one bit. I know you've only been with us for a few months, but maybe you're aware of the trouble Amy has been having. A small mom and pop shop like Rose and Daughters can't compete with the bigger guys. Anyway, don't tell Amy I sent this to you. Also, I'm starving, so I'm going to grab some fast food before taking the hearse through the car wash, 2 birds, 1 stone, and swinging back to the home. Do you want anything? A beef and cheddar? I'm going to take the hearse through the drive-thru, of course. Freaks people out. I love it. They get so awkward. Let me know. I'm heading out in 15 minutes. Paycheck coming late. Sorry. Hey, Matthew, this is embarrassing, but it seems I miscalculated some of our income, and I don't have enough to pay you this week. Would it be terribly inconvenient if I cut you a check for next week instead? If you need the money urgently, please let me know. I feel terrible about this whole thing, and I can cut you a check from my personal account if need be. I'm so sorry about this. I assure you it won't happen again. Net prices are still the same. From Funerals Monthly. If you've been a long-time subscriber to our emails or follow us on social media, you've no doubt heard about the misgendering that trans people are and times subject to during their funerals. There have been notable situations where trans women have had their wishes overruled by their families, and have had their hair cut and buried under the wrong names, and subjected to the wrong pronouns in their obituary announcements. We care a lot about this because we believe in treating every person with the same level of compassion, respect, and care. This absolutely extends to pronouns and respecting the deceased's wishes as per their lived experiences. The CDC's Funeral Director's Handbook on Death Registration and Fetal Death Reporting offer the fraught directive. Enter male or female based on observation. Do not abbreviate or use other symbols. If sex cannot be determined after verification with medical records, inspection of the body, or other sources, enter unknown. Do not leave this item as blank. Leaving it up to observation, obviously, enters a world of issues since bodies can be so different, and because of ingrained bias, people can draw incorrect assumptions based on their own inaccurate observations. California has passed what is known as the Respect After Death Act, which states that the death certificate must reflect the deceased's gender identity as they lived it, so a step in the right direction. People who are trans deserve the same respect in death as people who are cisgender receive. Misgendering in death takes away this respect. It can also inflict hurt or trauma on spouses and friends that survive the deceased. So what can we do as funeral directors? Listen to the people who come into your office. In America, especially, some marriages may not be recognized as legal, depending on the laws around same-sex marriages. But this doesn't mean that you're not dealing with two people who've loved each other in the same way as another couple. Listen, learn, and always be respectful. While you have to work with the next of kin, your duty is to ensure the deceased receive their utmost respect in their burial. If a funeral is to honor the deceased, then do that. Honor them. I'm on it. They're getting toasty today. Sizzle, sizzle. Before we cremate Mrs. Hall, we need to prepare her body. Mrs. Hall's family brought clothing and jewelry for her to wear. It's important to remove these before the cremation process is to not damage them. Let's start by removing Mrs. Hall's necklace. Cha-ching. Bling bling. We need to be able to identify Mrs. Hall's remains after she's been cremated. Click and drag the round identification tag and place it on the coffin. In the coffin. Great, Mrs. Hall is all set to be cremated now. Hit the button. Nice and toasty warm. This is the cremulator. Contrary to popular belief, cremation doesn't turn bodies into ash so much as bone fragments. Using the cremulator will break down these bone fragments into the ash-like remains. Let's start by placing the urn in the cremulator. The ice cream machine. Click and drag the bone fragments and drop them into the top of the cremulator. Crunchy! Now that all the bones have been processed, click and drag the urn back to the counter. Make sure to put Mrs. Hall's necklace back into the urn. Click on the drag. You do that. Don't forget the tag. Click the round identification tag and drag it to the urn. Last step, click the urn's lid and put it on top. All done. Amy will take the urn to the funeral parlor and present it alongside some flowers. Also, I don't think we have to worry about our protagonist here getting a partner. I'm sure they have plenty of plants at home. She would have hated this music. She never wanted her funeral to be sad. She would have wanted us smiling. She said so. She fought really hard. She was proud of herself. She never gave up, not once. Well, maybe once. Glad she was cremated and not like an open casket or something. Seeing her like that, I don't know if I could have. At least we all got to say goodbye. She would have liked that. Speedrun, enter the room and just immediately leave. This is nice, in a weird way. She liked that we're all here talking. She always tried to keep the family together. The food is delicious. I know it's weird, but these crab cakes are perfect. They're to die for. Good night, everybody. I wish my desk wouldn't creak, so it's not so obvious I'm leaning on it in a really unhealthy way. From Amy Rose to Rose and Daughter staff. Hi all. It is with... Oh. Oh. Okay, so that's 1. That's 2. That's 2. That's 1. I guess I'm just playing Minesweeper now. Minesweeper stream, Minesweeper stream. Oh. There and there. Okay. These both C2, so one of these is, one of these isn't. Oh no, ghosties! Just a moment. It is with a very heavy heart that I write to let you all know that Rose and Daughters will no longer be in business. I had no idea how to start this email, and resources at Google tell me it would be the best and easiest way to break the ice. Be direct, but remorseful, Google said. The truth is, I don't really know what to say. Since my father passed away, I've done my best to make Rose and Daughters warm and friendly to everyone who chose to use our services. It was my memorial to him, the original Rose, in a lot of ways. And you've all become like family, including you, Charlie, our most recent addition. But it's been getting harder to make ends meet. Rent is going up in the neighborhood, and I'm finding less and less like I have the energy for this business. There's a lot of competition from other funeral homes, larger corporations that can take on more business and offer more impressive services. You know the way it goes. So we've been bought, or I sold, either way. Soon, Hillside Heritage Enterprises Incorporated, a company that owns many funeral homes in the city and across the country, will replace Rosendaughters starting from the beginning of next month. Same building, same name. They're keeping the name Rosendaughters Funeral Home for tax purposes, though honestly, I'm trying hard not to see it as just a move on their part to keep up the image that it's a family-run business. I don't know how I feel about that, but I also don't know if there's anything I can do at this point. I've signed the papers. At least my father's legacy is still intact, somewhat. Oh, I got a frog in my throat. They have a good reputation, and they've agreed to keep you all on. That was one of my stipulations. I would sell as long as you weren't all without a job. Sorry I didn't tell you this in a more personal way. I would have loved to have a company lunch, but admittedly, I didn't have the heart to tell you in person. This was easier for me, please understand. Sincerely. Hi, Amy. I'm so eternally grateful that you were able to accommodate our requests for my sister's funeral. It was a beautiful service, and she would have been happy with it. That was such a weird thing to say, isn't it? Thank you again from the bottom of my heart. Sincerely, Margareta. Charlie, I thought I'd like you to see this thank you note. I thought I would forward this to you. In situations like this, we typically connect with people like Ryan with a grief counselor or other professionals who can really help him. Sometimes we get emails like this, when people don't know where else to turn. It's difficult, and the family isn't always the most reliable for some people. Usually I would be happy to connect him, but I'm feeling a little tired today. Not my usual self, and it would be good for you to start building these kinds of relationships on your own. You're a treasure, Charlie. Hi, Amy. I know this email might be a bit odd, but you said if I was ever having trouble, I should reach out, and you would know someone I could talk to about all this. I don't know what to do now. I know my grandmother had lived a full, good life, and she was very happy, and that she's not in any pain now, but still, I feel empty. Amy, I've never felt this empty before. What am I supposed to do now? I thought I was stronger than this. Can you refer me to someone to talk to? I don't want to freak out my mom right now. She's dealing with enough with work and with trying to just be the best mom she can. I just need somebody to tell me that it'll be okay. Thank you, and I'm sorry for being an inconvenience. Ryan. Charlie! I've been playing a new game when things are slow at work. It's called Tales from the Crypt Sweeper. Get it? Get it? It's like Minesweeper, but way harder. Like, seriously, it's really, really difficult. And I thought my Minesweeper game was on point after working that overnight front desk job at the hotel for 3 years, but I must have gotten rusty. Anyway, instead of mines, you want to avoid graves so you don't disturb the adorable ghosts. The main character also kind of looks like you. Want to start a healthy competition? High score gets to pick the restaurant we go to when one of us is in town next. Oh, yeah, sure enough. Aww. Funerals Monthly. You've lived your life mindful of the environment, doing your part to reduce pollution and generally help out where you can. So why not continue doing that even in death? At least that's the thinking for a lot of people who are turning green or natural burials. Natural cemeteries are becoming more popular and are focused on a few rules. Mainly it's that bodies aren't allowed to be embalmed with chemicals that can damage the environment, and bodies must be buried in biodegradable shroud or casket. Not only is this better for the environment, it's also cheaper. At Union Cemetery in Ontario, Canada, a natural burial is just over $1,000. So better for the people, the environment, just maybe not so good for big business. Let's not forget, people, this is still a business after all. But really, why go green? Green burials help preserve natural resources, work to reduce carbon emissions, protect the health of those preparing bodies, and restore/preserve natural habitats. Embalming fluids tend to contain formaldehyde, and funeral directors report a higher incidence of leukemia. Growing green and not using toxic chemicals for embalming helps protect funeral directors, while at the same time lessening the impact we have on the environment after we're gone. We here at Funeral Monthly think that green burials are pretty cool. What do you think? Reply and let us know. Hi, Charlie. Please see the note below about the pacemaker. They can be tricky, best. Hi, Amy. I asked if there was any special instructions we wanted to you asked if there were any special instructions we wanted to pass along. Just please cremate my father. He had a pacemaker, too. The doctor told me that would need to be removed. Thanks, Mariana. Sounds good. I'll take care of it. We're going treasure hunting. Mr. Reyes came directly from the hospital, so we don't have to worry about removing any valuables from him, as the family did not provide us any... That sentence just totally fell apart. However, Mr. Reyes has a pacemaker that we'll need to remove before cremation. Because pacemakers are batteries, they will explode inside the hot heat of the cremation machine, and we definitely don't want that. But let's start by removing Mr. Reyes' pacemaker. Click and drag the scalpel over the heart. You can see the pacemaker. Click on the forceps. Get that bad boy. Nummy nummy. Put the forceps away, then place the round identification tag in the coffin. Come on. Mr. Reyes is all set to be cremated now. Toasty toasty. Toasty toasty roasty. Using the cremulator, we'll break down these bone fragments into ash-like remains. Place the urn. And the bones. And the bone. And the bone. Urn and tag and lid. I wonder if he ever liked me. He was nice to me, but I don't know. He never seemed like he really cared if I was there or not. Well, Mr. Reyes, what a jerk. I always told him to quit smoking, but of course he never listened to me, so that figures. What do you want to do after this? It's pretty nice out. Let's change and go find a patio somewhere. Sounds good. I could really use a beer right now. Hey, did I ever tell you that time we tailgated? Did you ever end up clearing the air with your father? No, we talked a few times, but no, not really. He sounded like a difficult man. He was stubborn. That's just it. Stubborn. Get some snacks in you, girl. Get those funeral potatoes in you. Alright, I'm gonna need a weasel voice for the new owner. Thought I'd pass this along to you. Hi, Amy. I just wanted to thank you for the service the other month, and I apologize if I was abrupt. It was kind of a shock for me, and I didn't feel comfortable with the whole process. He wasn't supposed to die yet. It hasn't been easy. Mariana. You hate mushrooms so much, I found the perfect thing for you. I've been thinking about death. I know. Shocker. Look what you've done to me. I think I want this mushroom suit. No, it's not called that. I can't remember the name of it. I'm writing you on my phone, so I don't feel like Googling it right now. Anyway, the idea is that it's a biodegradable suit that the deceased wears. It's made with what people call a biomix, i.e. mushrooms and other microorganisms that help to decompose bodies, neutralize toxins in the body, and provide nutrients for the soil and plants. I think this one company even offers casket liners for use in green caskets. I think this is what I want. I'll be just like Hannibal. Wait, don't tell people I said that, okay? But seriously, it's pretty cool. I love all the death innovation happening. We might as well do something when we're in the ground, you know? Love you. Think about it and let me know your thoughts. I want all your thoughts. If it's not this, then maybe I'll have my ashes made into jewelry. But seriously, I'm probably going to do this. There's no harm in planning ahead, am I right? Things to avoid saying at the funeral. Like, what a jerk. Welcome back. Now, we rarely do listicles here, but for this month's newsletter, we thought a listicle would be the best way to deliver this month's advice. What not to say at a funeral? We know figuring out the right thing to say to a grieving friend can be extremely difficult, and since that's such a personal issue, it's hard to give specific advice. But some things will be more comforting to other people. But fortunately, we can deliver a little bit more solid advice on what not to say to someone who is grieving. So here it is. Funeral Monthly's top 5 things do not say at a funeral. At least they're no longer suffering. Even if this is true, nobody wants to hear this, and it's probably not your place to dictate. Who wants to be told that the death of somebody they love is for the best? Like I said, even if it's true, don't be that jerk, and just don't say it. Were they saved? No religious statements, just don't. Why? Because not everyone agrees with your religious views, and that is not always comforting. Not only is it not always comforting, it can also be insulting. There with the angels now. See the above note, then rinse and repeat. Let me know how I can help. This one is tricky. You want to help, but those in mourning won't always ask for help. If you want to help, suggest specific things. For example, I'm free if you need someone to babysit the kids. Actions are better than passive statements. Cook something for them. Take them to their favorite restaurant or buy tickets to see a movie together. I know how you feel. Even if you think you do. Everyone grieves differently. Don't focus this on yourself. Empathy doesn't involve having to commiserate. Sometimes people will want to hear your experiences, but don't assume they will. Ask first. For a quicker version of this list that can be applied to any situation, don't say stuff just for the sake of saying stuff. Just say, I'm sorry, if you don't know what else to say. Yeah, still the same. Charlie, I was hoping I wouldn't have to confront this situation. Yeah, anyway, they're never easy. Rosendaughters has been asked to prepare the body of a young man who took his own life. He had a will prepared and asked for cremation, but the family demanded a traditional burial instead. Unfortunately, he didn't make anyone his power of attorney, or didn't have any witnesses sign his living will or his advance directive regarding his wishes, so his family is in the right to do whatever they want with his body. It's unfortunate, but we have to do as his family wishes. Matthew has graciously offered to take this on if you are uncomfortable with the subject. Instead, we have a second body you can prepare for a funeral we're hosting later in the afternoon. Charlie, is this suicide something you're comfortable with dealing with? Let me know. I'm here if you need me. Good day to Mrs. Rose. Disregard our son's will as it concerns matters of his burial. He was clearly not thinking right and didn't know what he really wanted. Proceed with an open casket funeral. As for the payment, we'll bring a check. Yeah, I can do that. The deceased family has asked for an open casket funeral. Let's start by cleaning the body. A spongy, spongy, spongy. A spongy, 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 spongy. Gotta get your ears, too. And shave ya. You leave one hair, just for good luck. Give him the human contact that he probably sorely needed. Give him the glue in his eyes that he probably sorely needed. Sew his mouth shut like he probably felt like he had. Give him the moisturizer. Yeah, it's the good stuff. Speedrun, speedrun. Give him all the slurp. Drink the fluids. Nami, nami. Now go in the good suck. Go out there and just be like, you're despicable. I still can't believe he did it. I feel like I should have known, you know? Been able to do something to stop it. There was no way to know. You can't blame yourself. He wouldn't have wanted that. I know, it's just, it hurts. Yeah, I know. I heard it wasn't going to be an open casket. I'm surprised it's public. Usual funerals for these circumstances are more private. I wish we were closer. Oh, I still can't believe this is real. My baby brother. Maybe I should have played more games with him when he asked. Quiet sobs. Okay, now I think it's time for Weasel Face. From Chad Grant. We are pleased to bring on Rosendaughters as part of the... No, that's terrible. Yeah, call for a quote. It's not an obvious price anymore. You just... How much it cost? I don't know. How much you got? We are pleased to bring on Rose and Daughter staff as part of Hillside Heritage Enterprises Incorporated. There will be another institution among hundreds of other properties owned across the country. But of course, as part of the adjustment process to the Hillside Heritage Enterprises Inc. culture, there will be a number of changes that will come to Rose and Daughters. We'll send out a memo regarding the specifics and details of these changes, and we expect them to be followed impeccably. Glad to be leading the way for Rose and Daughters from now on. Chad Grant. First, can I just say, first off, this is bullcrap. Ugh, knowing how these corporations run, I wouldn't be surprised if they're monitoring our emails now. Okay, I don't really believe that. I'm just upset. I get that Amy didn't have much of a choice. You can only fight a huge corporation taking all your business for so long. This isn't 6 feet under. And they just swooped in, and now we have to deal with their BS practices. They're colder than the corpse I picked up from the morgue this morning. Who charges this much for funerals? It feels dirty and exploitive. Maybe grab a drink after work. I need to blow off some steam, and emails aren't really the most appropriate place to do this. Too late for me, I guess. P.S. If you're reading this, Hillside Overlord, good.
Can't really write much right now. I have a lot of work I have to do with an inguinal hernia from 1750. It's the oldest in our collection, and you can even see this bit of paper the surgeon put in after removing the hernia. Super cool. I'll send you the link when we have it cataloged. What is my life? What is the sentence I just typed? But anyway, this event that I'm forwarding you is taking place near you. Figured you'd be into it. Might help with that feeling of restlessness you were talking about before. Could be good to talk about some of the things you're feeling. Lots of death-positive people there. Sounds like it'll be a safe space. A Death Cafe. Come increase awareness of death with a view to helping people make the most of their finite lives. Join us, have a tea and cake, and talk with others about our thoughts, fears, and illuminations on death. The founder of the Death Cafe movement, John Underwood, once said, when people talk about death and dying, it tends to illustrate their humanity. See everyone at the Upside Down Jar next Thursday at Death Cafe. Funeral rites, even in our own culture, may be something many of us may be unfamiliar with. But for many people, all they know of funeral traditions is what they've seen in media. But, and I think this goes without saying, funeral rites and traditions aren't same across the board. Different cultures have different protocols for cleaning the body to different aspects of the service itself. Religion provides different paths for dealing with a death, but the goal is almost always the same, offering support, guidance, and ease to the people who are grieving. In Judaism, interment usually begins immediately after someone has passed. Up until burial, the body is never supposed to be alone, so often families will appoint a shomer, a guardian, to remain with the body. Preparations for burials begin as soon as possible in Muslim traditions as well. Local Islamic community organizers are also often involved and help the family make arrangements for the funeral service and burial. But not all practices are strictly religiously enforced. In the yachts in South Korea, the amount of graveyard space began to shrink dramatically, causing a law to be passed that requires families to remove the loved one's body from its burial place after 60 years. Many families begin to cremate more often, but there's also companies that compress remains into the beads in turquoise, pink, or black, called death beads. This also occurs in North America, Europe, and Japan, but it remains much more common in South Korea because of the space issue in graveyards and the expenses of cremation. But not all practices are somber either. Ever hear of the turning of the bones, or Farmadiana, a ritual by the Malagasy people of Madagascar? Farmadiana has families return to the ancestral crypt, exhume the bodies wrapped in cloth before dancing with the bodies to lively music. This practice is a celebration, remembrance, and way of keeping the deceased involved in family news. Death can be a difficult time for many people, obviously, but that doesn't mean there isn't a beauty in the ways you choose to honor and celebrate our deceased. Chad Grant. Charlotte. Below are the details for our next client. Ensure you follow the requested specifications exactly. After you are done, I will review your work in order to properly evaluate you at the end of the month. Thank you, Mr. Grant, for agreeing to take on Jocelyn's cremation. The bike accident was, well, it was more than I was expecting. I know she wanted to be cremated, and to be honest, I don't think I could bear seeing her like that after what happened. I'll get right on it. Time to prepare the body. Remove the watch. Place the tag. Great. Remove the watch. Now it's yours. It's cremulating time. Put in the bones, put in the bones. Put in the watch, put in the tag,
put on the lid, and all we're done. She was always so careful, wore her helmet, signaled, used the bike lanes. Asshole drivers, they need to pay attention. Have you heard what's happening to the driver? No, I haven't wanted to ask Leia. This has been hard enough on them without asking about the legal ramifications of all this. Yeah, after all this, let's see what we can do to help them. Shouldn't deal with the death of their partner all by themselves. So glad it was a cremation. I would have lost it seeing her body. I have to go through all of her things. How am I decide what to keep? If you need any help, I can help. Thanks, but no. I don't know. It's so intimate. Feels like I should do it myself. She would kill me if others saw the things we have. Yeah. She was kind of a closed book, except to you. Yeah, she was special. I'm glad I'm here, but now I need a glass of wine. I need to binge watch something right now. Should we do a vigil at the spot? Careless drivers, I swear to God. Budding. Charlie, I need a drink. Beer after work. Also, I really want mozzarella sticks. I can be both hungry and angry. And no, I will not say hangry, ever. Hello. As stated in our previous email, here are the new rules and code of conduct I expect you to follow from now on while on any premises belonging to Hillside Heritage Enterprises, Incorporated. First and foremost, there is a required uniform and strict dress code from now on. Second, most importantly, is that no tattoos are to be visible. If you have visible tattoos, ensure they are properly covered and hidden. When speaking to customers and clients, continue the opportunity to upsell. Always encourage the deceased's loved one to purchase the higher quality package. We found that encouraging loved ones to think of the comfort and style of the deceased as an experience with no price limit on it. Additionally, food is no longer allowed to be brought in. Instead, we encourage the deceased's loved one to purchase our premium sandwich appetizer food package. Our partner Catering Concepts provides high-quality food that will be delivered weekly from their factory and can easily be defrosted the morning of the funeral. I expect all the above changes to be instituted effective immediately to ensure its smooth transition into the high-quality services Hillside Heritage Enterprises is known for. Hello, Charlotte. I have reviewed your request on behalf of a potential family inquiring if we at Hillside Heritage Enterprises, Inc. can and will perform green burials. I should have informed you of this at the beginning, but we do not perform green burials as they are not cost-effective. All employees and subsidiaries of Hillside Heritage Enterprises, Inc. must comply. We do not wish to lose potential customers, though, so try your hardest to convince the families requesting green burials to instead choose a traditional burial package, complete with embalming caskets and vaults instead. I trust you will ensure we do not lose any customers, Charlotte. I saw a video of a gorilla walking on its hind legs like a human being, Charlie. A human being! We as a species have seen the beginning of our end. The appeal of a home funeral is apparent to many, especially if the deceased was somebody very close to you. The idea of keeping them at home until they are ready to be buried or cremated can be comforting. It wasn't that long ago that we were taking care of our own deceased, but nowadays people are quick to pass off their loved ones to a funeral home. Most families aren't given the option and assume this is mandatory. Funeral homes will almost always prepare the deceased using embalming and other methods that make them appear more alive. But isn't this process counterintuitive to the grieving process? Being allowed around the deceased allows the bereaved to spend a longer period of time with their loved one's body, which can help them mourn or give opportunities to family members and friends to see the deceased one last time before they are taken to be buried or cremated. The idea of keeping the deceased's body at home might sound gross, but it's important to understand that decomposition takes a long time, and you can further slow this process by keeping your home cool and dry. To be around your loved ones and to see them decay naturally is an important part of the grieving process. Home funerals aren't just more intimate, but they're economical. A traditional funeral, complete with body preparation services, flowers, cards, and many other hidden costs and fees, can cost upwards of $7,000 to $10,000. When you're able to take care of your loved one yourself, to wash and dress them, and to organize their viewing from home, the only cost remaining is entirely in the cremation or burial itself. However, it's important to understand the different rules apply given on what state you live in. In all states, it is legal to have your loved one's body at home after they die. States like Alabama, Connecticut, Illinois, Indiana, Louisiana, Michigan, Nebraska, New Jersey, and New York require a funeral director's involvement, from signing the death certificate to overseeing the burial and cremation. If this is a route you decide to go for yourself or your loved ones, make sure you follow everything by the book. But just know that this may be an option available to you and your loved ones if you so choose. Bruns funeral packaging, best suited for groups of 25 to 50. Give your loved ones the best with the best we have to offer. A large gathering to celebrate your loved ones. Subject to additional fees and taxes. Charlotte, I'm proud to announce the Hillside Heritage Enterprises, Inc. received a contract with the city to dispose of any unclaimed bodies. This is an important revenue stream for us, as I'm sure I don't need to explain to you, Charlotte. Although Hillside Heritage Enterprises, Inc. is being paid a decent wage from the city for these services, cremation is preferred here as it is the more cost-efficient of the two options. First unclaimed body will be belongs to a middle-aged man, possibly homeless, whose body is yet to be claimed. No special preparations are needed for this cadaver aside from cremation. I'll take care of it. Yeah, there's plenty of male condensation in this game. We need to prepare his body. Prepared. Use that cremulate. No flower vase this time. Lame. No one's here to see him. Just me. Yeah, I'm coming. Hello all, we're thrilled to announce the Hillside Heritage Enterprises Inc. subsidiary Rose and Daughters just signed a contract with Morning Valley Hospital. I actually just threw up the mouth a little bit. Allowing us access to all of the cadavers that come through their pediatric and maternity wards. We're excited for this opportunity to work with Morning Valley Hospital, which makes over 100,000 patients and receives over $15 million in funding and donations annually. This will no doubt be a boon for Hillside Heritage Enterprises Inc.'s bright and sustained future. Register your business. 11 permits. Articles of Incorporation. The applicant must file Articles of Incorporation BCA Form 1 with the Central Production and Verification Services Branch in order to incorporate. Registration of a business name for corporation. To register a business name for a corporation under the Business Names Act, the applicant must complete a BNA Form 2 to receive a Master Business License. Registration of the Sole Proprietorship General Partnership. The applicant must complete a BNA Form 1 with Central Production and Verification Services Branch to register a business name for the Sole Proprietorship/General Partnership under the Business Names Act. Page 104. Funeral Services Business Checklist. Charlie, it's official. I put in my 2 weeks notice. You know how unhappy I am working for Mega Corporation 101. My skills, especially the driving ones, are useful in other professions. I'm not worried about myself. But you I am worried about. You're too good for this corporate scum. You actually care about the people you work with and for. Don't let them defeat you, okay? I'll bring beers over next week. We can talk a bit more freely. dating a special effects makeup artist, and she is like the coolest person I've ever met in my life. And she totally loves Ava's possession and was equally freaked out by the possession scenes, but so utterly delighted at the idea of a support group for people who've been possessed. This was your best recommendation in a while, Charlie. You were slipping there. I was worried that you had lost your taste. But yeah, her name is Lily, and she's super death positive and isn't freaked out by my work, and also isn't too into it like that last dude I saw, Jason, Michael. Yeah, I can't remember. It's just Jason and Michael, of course. Just really like spending time around her. I can talk about whatever I want, and it's never a conversation stopper. She also totally gets what I mean when I say, like, working with death and spending so much time thinking about death actually makes me happier. It makes everything feel so much more worth it, you know? Memento mori or whatever they taught us in that one poetry class we took. We just clicked. Feels good. Fun and affirming, like dating should be. I'm thinking of taking her to Maple Meadows. She's not super into roller coasters, and I think the idea of sharing cotton candy, or maybe not, I don't want to throw up on the rides, is sickeningly cute. Then maybe I'll kiss her on top of a Ferris wheel. I'd be super comfy and cliche for once in my life. Or corny. Anywho, enough about me now. I'm still kind of in shock from your last email. Do you think you're going to do it? You know you have my support 100%, no matter what you decide. We can call it a few different things, like flameless cremation, a bit of an oxymoron, but we'll let it slide. Or perhaps a more commonly resumation, its technical name, although it's actually alkaline hydrolysis. Whatever we want to call it, it's here, and it's an environmentally friendly alternative to traditional cremation. But for the sake of this newsletter, we'll call it water cremation. We all know that traditional cremation and burials take a huge toll on the environment, the high energy consumption that adds to the greenhouse gas effect being one of the chief among them. And water cremation is an alternative method available for the eco-conscious amongst us. But how does it work? It's basically a water-based It's basically a water-based chemical process that uses really strong alkali and water heated up very high, around 350 Fahrenheit. It basically works like a sped-up version of natural decomposition. The excess water gets put through the same water treatment process as any sewage water at a factory. The alkaline hydrolysis uses significantly less energy than traditional cremation processes. Neat, huh? It's been around for a bit, and in some places became legal around the end of the first decade of the aughts. Not a bad alternative for those that don't want their death to have any greater impact on the environment than necessary. Seems weird that a heating water-based cremation would be less energy intensive. Because water has such a high specific heat value, it takes a lot of energy to heat water. I mean, it's why, like, desalination is so energy expensive, is because you gotta heat that water, and that takes a lot of energy. So it must just be a massive amount to get the flames hot enough for a traditional cremation. Home funeral for my wife. Charlotte, I see you were not able to convince the Dimka family to take a standard funeral. I had to contact them myself in order to not lose this sale. Please read the enclosed emails for a lesson on how to properly upsell potential customers. I don't want to see that we've lost any customers because of your refusal to upsell. That is part of your job. Mr. Grant, okay, we'll take the traditional funeral package. Thank you for considering us in this hard time. Best, Kofi Dimka. Dear Mr. Dimka, I understand your desire to keep your wife at home, but I assure you the best way to honor your wife is through a traditional funeral package instead. I promise you your wife's funeral with us will be a beautiful, intimate gathering where all of her beloved friends and family can come together and say their goodbyes. A standard embalming will allow everyone to view your wife, ensuring that everyone can see her one final time as she was. Beautiful, peaceful, and courageous. Letting us take care of the food with our prepared food services will ensure you don't have to do a single thing. You don't have a single thing to worry about on this day. You and your daughters are going through a hard time right now. Let us here at Rose and Daughters make this difficult time a little easier for you. Yeah, I'll get right on it. A spongy, 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 sponge. A spongy sponge. A spongy, spongy sponge. Ain't no demons like in mortuary assistant except for the worst demons at all. Capitalism. Speed run, speed run. Moisturize the towel. I must know I'm streaming. A touch. A touch. It's funny that this game, at the beginning, not that you saw, because I had already had it loaded to the title screen, but it says, like, headphones recommended. And normally that's for, like, you know, rhythm games or really atmospheric games. That's not what this is. I don't know, it just feels a little self-serving to say headphones recommended when your game doesn't have anything that really takes advantage of high-quality audio. I'll get it all the way sucked. This feels so impersonal. She would have hated this. Yeah, but I don't know. They must have had their reasons. Oh, hey, what did you think of that trailer I sent you? Oh yeah, I've heard that show's so good. I saw that video of the one kid actor doing karaoke. Do you think we did the right thing? I feel bad not doing what Mom asked for. I know, honey, but what that chat guy said seemed right. We don't want to dishonor her memory by letting her rot. It's just, I want Mom to know I loved her. Wish I hadn't yelled at her before. It's okay. She knew you loved her. Fights happen. Please don't be hard on yourself. Yeah, I'm gonna miss her. Me too. Well, don't worry, because capitalism always wants what's best for you, as long as that makes them the most money possible. It's so cold in here. I think they have the air conditioning on too high. Yeah, let's go for a walk later. It's really nice out. It would be good to stretch my legs. Some things never change. It's still cold. I'm starving. Why do these things always make me so hungry? You're always hungry. Game's a bit shorter than I remember. Charlie, dear, I'm so proud of you. I knew there was something special in you when I hired you for Rose and Daughters. Is there anything I can do for you? Please do not hesitate to ask. I'm always happy to help. Best wishes, Amy Rose. P.S. I sorely missed you and Matthew's terrible sense of humor. Hey, Charlie. When I first became a hearse driver, I was told that my most important job wasn't steering. It was sympathizing. I respectfully disagree, and thankfully, I concentrated on my driving skills, since I am now working as a, wait for it, bus driver. A school bus driver, Charlie, can you believe that? Pretty sure if I said the most important part of my job now wasn't steering, I'd be fired immediately. But I didn't know how else to tell you. For some reason, I was worried you'd think less of me. But I don't know why. You've never been the judgmental kind. And besides, corpses are way easier to deal with than children. Screaming children, might I add. I actually love it. These kids can be pretty cute. But don't tell Amy that I told you that. She was always harping on me for not having any kids and for being all cynical about them. Congrats on your new business, Charlie. I'm proud of you. I'll swing by your place one day and show you my new wheels. Maybe we can grab a bite to eat. Be seeing you. Charlie, I'm so happy for you. I know it's been a rough year for you. Seriously, I think our wine intake saw a bazillion % increase. But you've stuck through it all like a champ. You deserve this. Finally being your own boss is a great move for you. No more having to explain anything you don't want to. Cough. I'm trying to not be too cheesy right now. Can't wait to be home next week for our visit and to check out our new space. Always. P.S. Have you heard about those green burial pods? When I find the link in my 1 million open tabs, I'll shoot it over to you. Magnolia Forest, Funeral Home and Natural Burial Park. Magnolia Forest, named after the magnolia trees that surround our funeral home, specializes in at-home funerals and green burials in our natural burial park. Our goal is to empower families and encourage them to have a closer relationship with death and the dying process. The death of a loved one can be confusing and sometimes traumatic time, and we want you to feel fully involved in your loved one's death care decisions. Whether you're looking to care for your loved ones from the comfort of your home, be present during the cremation, or bury them in our natural cemetery, Magnolia Forest is here to work with you and provide these simple but intimate and meaningful options. Natural Burial Park. Our Natural Burial Park allows the body to return to the earth and recycle naturally. It is intended as an environmentally sustainable alternative to existing funeral practices. Our park has room for bodies of all sizes and ages, as well as beloved pets. Families also have the option to bury their loved ones themselves if they so choose. Prices. We believe in being transparent about our prices and practices. We are happy to explain all our prices, work within your budget, and hope to make you feel comfortable and confident in your decisions. Let us know if we can answer any of your questions. Home funeral, $1,000, all inclusive. Green burial and services, $2,250 for adults, all inclusive. Direct cremation, $600, all inclusive. Infants are buried at no charge. Here we can provide a 3x3 plot and help opening and closing the grave.
Dear Charlie, today's the day already, isn't it? I can't believe how quickly this has come up. Thank you for your understanding and your work. You made today easier already. See you at 1 p.m. Best, Eileen Hansen. I'll see you soon. Her tattoo's showing. She's not hiding her tattoo now. This hurts. I thought it'd be easier, but it's not. It hurts so much. But thank you for helping me give her the funeral she always wanted. Anyway, I think we're ready to get started now. It's a really sweet game. This game got front page in the bundle for justice, racial justice and equality, but I'd say it definitely deserves it. Being just a 1 hour little romp like that, and saying what it wants and not being too verbose about it, I think it does a really good job. That's exactly the sort of thing like a 1 hour visual novel should be, you know? You open and close the story real quickly and make sure that it's kept tight and focused. I knew this game was good going in, and I'm still super happy about it. That's it. So, next time, as I check the community tab again. Steam Marines, that's right. So, tomorrow's game, from what I can tell, is sort of, well, it makes me think of Operation Steam, a 3DS game that's sort of like grid-based XCOM. I get the feeling it's one that I won't be able to finish in a timely manner. And also, if it is like an XCOM strategy type sort of game, I'm going to have a hard time with it. I like those games, don't misunderstand, but boy am I bad at them. Like XCOM 2, I bounced off it several times because it's too hard. And considering this is probably made specifically for enthusiasts, this is probably made for the sort of people that say that the modern XCOM games are dumbed down, I'm in danger. That's just my assumption though, but I do feel like I'm in danger. But we'll see. Next time.